this thing on?
We talking about practice, man.
I mean, as I work with my hands. It's a misdemeanor in 27 states.
You gotta be comfortable with your co-host in this amount of space.
Yeah, I can see me and you.
This guy runs a state.
You get that through your head?
You just got hashtag content.
You know, technology and stuff.
Up in your grill. It's stuck in your teeth.
Now I have to mark them so I don't get the lick mic.
You're not really that stupid, are you?
Quavos.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
We don't have a lot of editing this time.
The ceiling is the roof. Let's make it happen.
Don't try to tell the British that was a heck of an Open Championship for America's golfing sweetheart.
Down the final stretch we go. Nate Rowan is on to talk MLB. And these plates, anything but garbage.
But where's the best place to take @TravsMatt on a date? Our female correspondent Ashleigh Carter has the answer.
Going, gone. But how gone? No more slump for Freckle-Zilla.
To be determined, episode 21, previously recorded from the studio in Mom's basement.
Boom.
At Sports by Bond, Stephen Bond.
At me.
With @TravsMatt, Matt Traybold.
Yeah.
A.K.A. at Scooty Minx.
That is true. These are true things he says, guys.
Scooty, what's the word? That's it? Just an exhale. That's the word?
Did you see this golf today?
I did see this golf
That's all I
today.
needed to do.
On Sunday, meaning.
I think that's Spieth did. A little exhale.
After, what was it, 13?
Not lucky number.
Well, after 17, I think
it's more
is when
Friday
he
the
exhaled.
13th and not lucky number 13.
Yeah. I think it was after 17 is really when he exhaled.
Yeah.
All right, 21st episode of To Be Determined. We're going to discuss the Open Championship.
Yeah.
And the Cavs nightmare offseason. We've got an interesting way to describe this Cavs offseason. Just give us 5 minutes to discuss the Open Championship. We'll dive into the Cavs. It'll be interesting, we promise. Make sure you check out the show on the internet. ToBeDeterminedShow.com is the website. At TBD_show on Twitter, To Be Determined Show on Instagram, To Be Determined Pod on Facebook, TBDmailman@gmail.com. All right, now that the cheesy promo's out of the way, let's talk the 146th Open Championship. Jordan Spieth taking his third major of his career at the ripe old age of 23 years old. The Open really became fascinating on the back nine of the final round. The question, was this the wildest 5 holes in major golf?
I think it was. It was a scene like I've never seen before.
I think you're referring to 13.
13.
Hole 13.
But it's not like it just ended there. It kept getting more and more crazy. And this is a kid that when he's had crazy moments negatively in the past, because you have to say, he is still a kid, even though he had success very early on in his PGA career. He completely bucked the trend, and he took it in stride, and he made it fuel.
He's a kid that's worth like $35 million or something like that. So, yeah. Anyway, 13 was the controversy, the hole that everyone will talk about.
Controversy.
The hole that everyone will talk about from this championship. Takes 25-ish minutes, what we have here. Could have been 25, could have been 20, could have been 30, who the heck knows. To set up his second shot, Jordan Spieth does. Spieth had his caddy move the crowd. He had buses move that were nearby. He actually dropped the ball behind where the ball had originally landed. He took the penalty to do this, found out that the driving range was not out of bounds, and he was able to make a play from there. He just asked these questions. See, the reporters asked him about this scenario afterwards, and he just said, listen, I just asked the question. He goes, I didn't necessarily know the rules, but I was going to continue to ask questions until I figured out the best way to get out of this jam. So kudos to this 23-year-old to remain poised enough to do this. Now, has he learned from the Masters in 2016? That great meltdown he had at Amen's Corner where he quadruple bogeyed a hole, shot a 7? Has he learned from that? I think so. And you can look at this run on the back nine as evidence of that. On 13, he takes a bogey. Now, is it debatable whether this was the greatest bogey in the history of the Open Championship? In recent memory, it probably is, because that bogey sets him up for what would become, and I want to make sure I get this correct. Where's the note here I had on what he did? He ended up nearly acing the next hole for birdie on 14. Eagles 15 went birdie on 16-17. I mean, what a run of 5 holes there.
13 is like nothing I've ever seen before. I've already mentioned it once, but it has to be mentioned again. And results are results, and he came out on the other side the way he did in swimming fashion. But so he hits it 100 yards to the right of actual playing surface that he at least wants to be on.
Yeah.
And yes, especially at big golf events, you do see people running up to it because they want to be maybe in the television shot. But they're going through long grass in massive hills. So you have all these people, it's like a 300 scene.
The terrain was not
running
easy.
over to this thing. It was absolutely absurd. And then he takes it back what looks like maybe another 100 yards. And he's got all these things in his way, and he sends his caddy up there, and then his caddy ends up being in the way, and he's trying to yell instructions back and forth with his caddy. And his caddy you can barely see. He's just like a speck on this grassy hill way ahead.
Jordan hits what would become his third shot after he took the penalty. Really his second swing in 25-ish, 30 minutes. He didn't even like that. Imagine being Kuchar waiting all this time.
Well, gosh, and I can't believe he didn't start sitting down on the green. I know it's not really golf etiquette, but he was just kind of doing the little lean there with his. He takes you out of the groove because he was playing well. He played well after that, but it definitely you thought it would take him out of the groove more.
This becomes Spieth's third major championship. He's one away from the career Grand Slam. He could get it this year if he wins the PGA Championship a little later on this summer. I think this win speaks to the maturation or maturity, whatever way you want to go with it, of a 23-year-old. And think about that. Just a year ago, Spieth had a meltdown for a green jacket. Had a meltdown at the Masters. And to shoot that quadruple bogey and to see just the pain in his face, just see the pain in his body and his actions in that Masters a year ago, today, they're like a completely different golfer. And again, we're talking about a 23-year-old 1 year later.
Yes, you have to think. The kid is still young. I know he went on the tour early. He had success earlier than you would expect out of most kids that age. And he's still young. But this is the moment. I know he already has some big wins under his belt, but maybe this, when you look back in his career, that this is the moment where he went from great to one of the greats, of the top in this entire sport.
He went from down 1 after 13 to up 2.
And just the way he responds.
Thanks to 14 on that hole. That, to me, right there, won him the tournament. To go from bogey, birdie, eagle. Those 3 holes, I guess I should say. Those 3 holes are the tournament right there. And he had gone wire to wire. He had faced the bad conditions on Friday, got through the better conditions yesterday, or whatever it was, whenever the rain was. Was the rain yesterday on Saturday? I can't remember.
It's the Open Championship. I'm sure it rained every day.
But I'll tell you, it wasn't a traditional Open Championship where there's rain and wind every single day. They had to deal with some elements, and even today there was a bunch of wind. As they were teeing off for 18, I remember, 16, 17, 18-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, I mean, he had some, at least even on that final stretch, where he really took advantage. He had a couple putts where the wind took him like, oh, no, and insult to injury. This thing's going for a ride on the green. But the fact that he got a bogey out of that is absurd. Because even the commentators were saying, oh, they thought this was going to be a 12 or 13, not a 5 after the way that hole started. And then his very next shot, he almost aces it. It goes right by the cup. And then that 50-foot or so eagle putt.
Yeah, this is an interesting moment. Jordan isn't a huge celebration guy. He doesn't give you a lot of emotion. He doesn't give you what Tiger gave us, the fist pumping, the running behind a putt when it's good. when Jordan moves behind a putt, it's typically bad because he just wants to get up to the next one and read it. I didn't like the celebration at 18. I love the celebration at 15, saying, go get the ball. Get the ball, I'm getting on to the next hole. Get the ball. I thought that was interesting.
Like you said, he almost took 30 minutes on 13. They're probably like,
he's trying to pick up the pace.
We're not television schedule here, boy.
Pace of play here. I didn't like the celebration at 18 Very minor. It's almost like he didn't know what to do. And this is his third go-around.
Especially after that chest bump.
It's weak. Well, and that's the thing. He's had these moments before.
I think we maybe spent after a few holes
he
before.
Might have been emotionally, and that's a good way to describe it, is that he could have been just spent emotionally. But it's funny, with Tiger, when he had those fist pumps, those are iconic now. You remember them. You remember
I
these
just
moments.
mimed it here a second ago.
You did.
You just know, even to the nth degree, of what his arm was doing because they're so iconic.
Right now, you should be able to envision it. If you've watched golf on any level whatsoever, you should be able to close your eyes, just like Matt is.
Sunday Reds.
And envision the fist pumps from Tiger at the Masters, at the PGA, at whatever event it might be. You almost felt a part of that. You felt the raw emotion from Tiger. We were robbed on Sunday of that.
It happened too early. No.
To an extent on 15, but it's not even a great moment. That's just a different moment.
Yeah.
It's not an exciting moment. It's just different. It's not something we typically see where a guy points at his caddy and says, grab the ball. Now, that's a little old school, and Jordan even talked about that after the round was over. And he also admitted that he really didn't know how to celebrate this.
I mean, very few people go through something like
Which,
that.
again, it speaks to the maturity of this kid. At 23 years old, he's saying, I really don't know what to do here. He's self-aware enough to recognize that he's not sure what he should do here. And listen, he should go chest bump his caddy. That was the greatest 4 or 5 holes maybe we've seen in major championship, most likely the Open Championship, I guess we can at least say with some security there. But, I mean, this was unbelievable finish to the Open Championship after we had a wire-to-wire champion. And that's hard to do.
I just want to get a quick mention there. It was already pretty crazy before 13 with Jordan Spieth. I mean, Lee Hao Tung, who 3 weeks ago was just a goat. He made his mother go in the drink and get one of his clubs out, so he was a laughingstock. 107 in the world, comes in, not a great tournament, 63 today. And Brandon Grace, the South African, a couple of days prior, had the lowest round in a major with 62. And Jordan Spieth, it shows how crazy and how wild that handful of holes was. So you have Hao Tung to not even really be in it at the end, in story-wise, not just on the leaderboard.
Birkdale was a good course. I enjoyed watching that course for sure. There were good moments. It challenged the golfers, but there were a number of times when the weather was calm, you saw these guys go to work. And that was fun. That was fun to watch. So kudos to Jordan Spieth, becomes a 3-time major champion. He can go for the career Grand Slam later this year. Let's move to the Cavs' nightmare offseason. Kyrie Irving requesting a trade. What's out? What was your initial reaction to this?
My initial reaction, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I know he might look at it.
Not surprising to you? Surprising is the first word that came to my mind.
No, it's absolutely surprising because you didn't really hear too much about that before now. But being second fiddle to not only a team that made the finals the last 3 years, but also to a team with LeBron James, the best player in the world, which is basically, I mean, no one's ever, it doesn't matter who you are, you're not going to be.
Second fiddle to a generational talent.
And second fiddle has a little bit of a negative connotation.
Everybody's second fiddle to this guy.
Everybody is, exactly. And being second fiddle, barely, on a team this good, is that worth going to maybe the Knicks?
Do you want to be a Knick? I mean, that's a scary
proposition.
You
you got to be first guy.
Late.
But, I mean, Porzingis,
I was
is,
say,
in terms of
Long,
popularity.
for how long, though? Because Porzingis is a baller, man.
I mean, first option on the court, yes, it's going to be Kyrie Irving. But off the court, I think the more remarkable star we've seen is definitely Kristaps Porzingis.
Well, and you don't know just how long he would be the first option in New York.
Exactly. I mean, he's just a rising superstar, the unicorn.
All right, so let's look at this from a unique perspective, if you will. Since the offseason, things are slower in July, right? If you had to give this offseason the Cavs have had a movie title, what would it be? So not just the current situation, but the fact that they had the GM leave. They're making offers to a couple of GMs that turn them down.
Chauncey.
LeBron doesn't really go out and recruit anybody. The Cavs don't really go out and recruit anybody. Now Kyrie wants out. If you had to give a movie title to describe this offseason, what would it be?
I'm going to stay a little bit X's and O's, at least for my first one. Point Break. Point guard is trying to break away from the pack here, break away from his Cavaliers who've made him a superstar.
Okay, I like it. That's good. My first one, I'm going to go Trainwreck. The LeBron James film.
Oh, he was so good. Not just a cameo. He was so good. Honestly, I know like comedies don't get a lot of love in the award shows. maybe should have got because he was in it enough, I think, to be a supporting actor.
Maybe. I think it's been a train wreck. This offseason has been an absolute train wreck. The Warriors go out, sign their guys, they get them more money. The Rockets make moves. The Timberwolves make moves. What are the Cavaliers doing? I mean, clearly it's nothing, but what are they thinking?
Between the show, the main show here, and the Friday show, I feel like we talk about the Cavaliers and their terrible offseason and just missed opportunities week after week after week. And I'm being a Bill hater about it. You got to hate on it.
All right. So what's the second one you got? What's the second movie title?
I'm going to go Too Fast, Too Furious. Got to tap into that franchise. But hey.
For Kyrie's number. That's the connection, right?
He's seemingly a little bit furious, and he's pretty quick. He's got some wheels on him.
Yeah.
One of his calling cards.
And obviously quite furious.
A little jelly layup.
Yeah. It's a good one.
How about you?
I like that. I would go fences. This just things, and quite literal, I mean, with the movie title Fences. They are just dividing lines on this team. This locker room clearly divided at this point.
Not physical fences.
Well,
maybe.
I mean, literal defenses, I guess. Literal fences, not defenses. Literal fences. It's this. I was stunned by this. Literally stunned. If you're Kyrie, you go anywhere in the West, you're second fiddle to most people in the West. It's loaded. Where else are you going to go in the East where you're going to compete that doesn't have LeBron James?
I mean,
who competes? You're going to go to Boston? They don't need you.
Well, yeah, there's that. Plus, I mean, they were the 1 seed this year in the East, but only in what's written on the bracket. But I do like fences because there's going to be, like you said, these maybe more emotional kind of, well, obviously not physical, emotional fences, because if there's any chance he goes back, there's no way around the fact that it's going to be a little bit awkward and a little bit weird. There's going to be that emotional fence.
All right, quickly, does Kyrie have a case for wanting to be traded?
I don't think he does. He's a very good player. He deserves to be first fiddle. But like we talked about a second ago, no one is going to be first fiddle on a team with the best player in the world.
Yeah. I agree. To me,
that's the best option for him.
To me, there's no case. There's absolutely no case.
Agreed.
If you're smart. All right, bump music in. Around the corner, we're talking a little diamond ball, a little baseball. With the director of communications for the Rochester Red Wings, Nate Rowan. New thoughts. He's got an interesting secret talent. So stay for the come for the baseball, stay for the hidden talent, if you will. Or TBD after this.
You're you, I'm me. I hope you listened to the first couple blocks of this bad boy because we're back here on To Be Determined.
Not a B block unless we get that intro, and that intro means it's a B block. At Sports by Bond with at Trabs Matt, joined by at NJ Rowan. Nate Rowan, the director of communications for the Rochester Red Wings. I guess technically a member of the Minnesota Twins.
Absolutely.
Is that correct, Nate?
Yeah, we're affiliated with the Twins, although my paycheck comes from the Red Wings.
So it's slightly less than maybe what the Twins are seeing, is in other words. But that's fine. That's fine. It's
fair.
It's
That's
pro
fair.
baseball.
And Nate right now rocking a Twins polo.
That's true.
Yeah. Yep.
Nate joining us on a Sunday after the Red Wings just got done. So was it a win for the Wings? I didn't even look. This is, again, bad producing on my part.
Yeah, we won 7 of 8 on the homestand. Still alive in playoff contention. We had a great homestand this weekend. We had over 30,000 fans at Frontier Field.
Nice.
With the Rochester Philharmonic Orchestra Friday night, Rodney Atkins concert on Saturday night. I mean, promotionally, we've been kind of killing it this year. Not to brag, promotions director Tim Doohan's he's had a tremendous season. So, we're not to toot our own horn, but we had we had a great homestand.
Well, we know we can attest to it, and we'll get to the social media stuff a little later on in this block because you guys have absolutely been killing it. All right, so we'll dive in with the Twins first. If anybody thought that organization were pretenders before the All-Star break, they've got to be on that bandwagon, so to speak. What has made the Twins so good? How have they been able to stay in contention after this All-Star break?
Sure. So I actually had talked to Matt about this at Frontier Field a couple days ago, I think. Once you get after the All-Star break, it's kind of hard to say, is this team a pretender? Because they're not. I mean, it's it's after the All-Star break, and the team's obviously still playing well. They're still above 500, even though they lost today. But I think the biggest thing at the beginning of the season was Irvin Santana was as good of a starting pitcher as anybody in baseball. And when every fifth day you're winning, it helps the bullpen. I mean, people don't realize how much that helps a bullpen. So he had a great start to the season. I don't think that people thought that Jose Barrios was going to be as good as he's been for the Twins. He started the season in Rochester. He's been one of the best pitchers in the International League when he's been with us. And I think people saw the potential, but he just couldn't put it together last year. He's one of those guys that you give him any amount of confidence and he's going to be lights out. So he's pitching with confidence. And when you're basically winning 2 out of every 5 games, like when those two guys start, the Twins' record is excellent. Miguel Sano is obviously an all-star. He just missed out on being a starter at third base. We didn't see him much in Rochester, but he did play some rehab games. And Eddie Rosario, I don't think anybody's talking about. He's batting like 290. Defensively, the team is one of the better teams in baseball. I mean, Byron Buxton has not hit at the plate, obviously, yet, but his defense for a team that doesn't get a lot of strikeouts, the ball's in play a lot, their defense has to be good with a staff like that. But I don't even think people who follow the Twins thought that it was going to be as quick. They were going to be contenders as quick as it's been. I mean, they have a good core set of guys, and they're still hanging around, and they're hanging around in large part because they're getting contributions from all over. But mainly that their starting pitching, I think, has been better than most people anticipated it would be.
So sticking the AL Central, you have quite the ring after being part of the Royals for their 2014 AL Championship victory, and they went on to win the entire thing in 2015. Also very firmly in the mix in the division. How have the Royals climbed back in it after a very rough first month or so?
Their offense, and I should have looked up the statistic, but their offense at the beginning of the season, especially the first month, was one of the worst in baseball. They didn't score any runs, and for a team that had the likes of Lorenzo Cain and Eric Hosmer and Mike Moustakas, those are 3 guys in the middle of your order that, if they're in your order, you should score runs. The team was not hitting very well at all. They've actually pitched it okay all season long. They're hitting the first month of the season really, really came back to bite them. But recently the pitching has picked up. The hitting has obviously picked up. Mike Moustakas seems to hit a home run every single time we look at a box score. And Eric Hosmer is going to get paid at the end of the season. He's going to be a free agent. After this weekend, they're in second place in the Central. They're a game or 2 games back of the Indians after this weekend. So, they're obviously firmly in the mix. It'll be interesting to see with a team like Kansas City. For a while it was like, all right, when are they going to trade their guys? To now it's like, all right, who are they going to try to trade for? And Dayton Moore has been one of the better GMs as far as trades go. He's gotten great value anytime he's made a deal. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. And honestly, any move that the Twins make, there's a lot of things that are still up in the air. A lot of things can change in a week. Obviously, if the Twins don't play well, they may become sellers. If they play well, they may be big buyers. I think it's clear that both of those teams have to try to improve if they're going to win the division, because Cleveland is going to get their starting rotation back healthy. That's been the biggest reason they haven't kind of distanced themselves from the rest of the division.
It's so funny with Minnesota too. There's so much young talent, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
What piece do you try to give up? Because you look at it and go, man, this guy 2-3 years from now is just going to be such a killer that do you want to give up? Do you want to roll the dice? I guess it all to me breaks down if you want to win now or, again, kick that storyline down the road, kick the tire down the road, so to speak, and prepare for the next couple years. So
yeah, and I think that the Twins management has made clear that they're not going to trade for any sort of rental type pieces. If they make a trade for a guy that is under team control for not only the rest of this year but next year as well, at least, those are the deals they're probably more likely to make.
All right, let's go Brewers and Indians. They've both shown that these first half leads in their division. Sometimes it's not always a stranglehold. I guess is the best way when Maddie phrased it here. Well, either of them, maybe it's more a question with the Brewers than it is the Indians, just given the recent history, I guess, with the Indians. Are either these teams on track to maybe have a stranglehold in their division?
I would say that the team that out of those two teams, Cleveland probably has the better chance to win the division, and I mean that because I don't think the Cubs are done in the Central, and
so
the Cardinals are going to be competitive.
Yeah.
The Central is just a much better division, I think, and so when it comes down to trying to decide which teams currently in the lead in the division, I mean, a lot of it is not only how good they are, but the rest of the division. But Cleveland's only got 3 games, 3-game lead on Minnesota, and Minnesota's in 3rd place, or 2.5 games after today, I think. The Brewers, I think, have a 3-game lead or a 2.5-game lead on the Cubs. I just don't think the Cubs are done. And they traded for Jose Quintana. He pitches tonight for the Cubs on the Sunday night game, and they're too good not to figure it out. And to me, it's surprising that they haven't completely put it together. And when you think about it, they haven't played that well, and they're still only a couple games back of the division. Just speaks to how good their team is as a whole.
It's a good point.
And do you think there are any other division leaders susceptible to a flop like you've seen with those two teams in their division standings anytime soon?
I think looking at the standings, the division to me that's the most interesting is the American League East, and I feel like people say that every year. But Boston has a 3-game lead right now, but you look at like Baltimore's a fine team. Like Baltimore's not a bad team. They're 4 games under 500. They're 7 games back. The division is just the best division in baseball. So Boston has a 3-game lead, but they have to play all those games against teams within the division, whereas Cleveland gets to play the likes of like the Chicago White Sox, who are 20 games under 500. Houston has a stranglehold. I mean, I can't see them blowing like a 17. I think the lead is 17
like
games or something today, which is absurd that it's July 23rd and they have 65 wins. It's ridiculous, but. I think, and I like the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox are probably the second best team in the American League, but they have to play their games within the American League East, and the American League East just has so many good teams. I mean, Toronto is in last place in the East, and they were picked by a lot of people to possibly win the East, maybe make the World Series preseason. I mean, it's just if they get their offense figured out, who knows?
Yeah. That's wild. All right. Sorry, I realized it was my question. Matt was going to be like, are you going to ask a question now, dummy? I am going to ask a question. And Matt and I discussed this a couple weeks ago that I made the argument that I think this first half of baseball was maybe the most exciting we've had in the past decade. And I attributed that to the amount of young stars that are in the game right now. Who is your favorite young star to watch and why?
So I think what's interesting is I don't think people understand how young like Mike Trout and Bryce Harper are because they've been around forever.
Yeah.
Like Bryce Harper played in his 5th All-Star game this last week or 2 weeks ago in Miami, and the dude's 24.
That's crazy.
It's seriously, you think about it and it's like, all right, I mean he's 2 years younger than Aaron Judge, and he's been to 5 All-Star games.
That's crazy to think about.
I mean, it's like so I'm going to try to take those 2 guys out just because they're elite players.
Sure,
they're not just good young players. They're 2 of the best players in the game. The 2 guys that I really, really like, I mean, there's a lot of guys like Chris Bryant with the Cubs, obviously. Manny Machado with the Orioles. Francisco Lindor and Carlos Correa. And they're good young players at a premium position. Shortstops don't just fall off trees. I think there's a lot of teams that would love to have, a shortstop that they can pencil in basically for the next, hopefully 10 years for those teams, maybe more. To me, I really like Mookie Betts from the Red Sox. And the reason I like Mookie Betts is that defensively, he's elite. He plays in right field, and he's one of the best defensive right fielders in the game. They move him to center field if Jackie Bradley Jr. is not playing, and he's one of the best defensive center fielders in the game. He's a great leadoff hitter. He's got over 30 doubles. He's homered almost 20 times, and he's scored like 70 runs in 90 games, which is just
wow.
I mean, it's absurd. He seems to always be on base. He steals bases. He does everything you would want from a player. The other guy that I think that doesn't get a whole lot of recognition because of the likes of like Chris Bryant and Manny Machado is Nolan Arenado in Colorado. And
Yeah.
I think he's finally starting to get his recognition because Colorado's playing better. You know, his first couple years, the Rockies just weren't very good. Now the Rockies are legitimately in the playoff chase. They score a ton of runs, and Arenado's a big part of that. You know, he's elite defensively. He's probably the best defensive third baseman in the game. Some people may argue that Manny Machado's up there, but and don't get me wrong, Arenado benefits because he gets to hit in Coors Field. Everybody who gets to hit there benefits from that. But to me, Mookie Betts and Nolan Arenado, I mean, they're worth the price of admission. And if I paid to go to baseball games, I would definitely. I just don't have any time to go watch them play. But those two guys are the top of the list for me. But there's so many good young guys that I didn't even get to mention.
Yeah.
I mean, we could sit and talk for an hour about
just the young
young
guys.
talent around baseball. It's good for the game because those are the guys that are going to be the face of the game in the next couple of years. So it's good that there's so many good young players and in different markets too. Like,
Yes.
It's not like all these guys are on the Yankees or all these guys are on the Red Sox.
Yep.
You know, two of the bigger markets are all on the Dodgers. It's the game's in a good place because of all these good young players.
I couldn't agree with that more.
So shifting a little bit now, we've been talking about the clout of the Red Wings social media machine on this show for a couple weeks now, especially the Rochester Plates idea, stuff like Hungry Human Hippos, in-game promotion, stuff like that. The team has received plenty of national notoriety for that, and merchandise flying off the shelves. We talked about a little bit before we went on with you. How has the club come up with these ideas?
So I got to give most of the credit on this to our new social media promotions website guy, Tim Doohan, who actually was the PR guy for the Red Wings before me. When I first started, we did not have a dedicated social media person. It was kind of 2 or 3 different people sharing it. Our promotions director was also our group sales director. So the people that were running kind of these outlets had other responsibilities on top of it. At the end of 2015, they gave me the social media and said, all right, you run with it, do what you want to do. And as you guys know, with what I do, especially in the last couple of years, I've been so busy with roster moves and players changing teams and that sort of thing that, you know, I told Dan Mason, our general manager, I just said, hey, if you can find a way where we can hire somebody specifically to run social media. You know, social media is so big now.
Yeah.
And so many teams, you can tell the teams that are good at it and the teams that aren't. And a lot of the times, the teams that aren't good at it, it's not because they're not like dedicated to it. It's that those teams that are better at it have somebody dedicated to doing it. And you know, the thing is, it's not just putting out content, but good, engaging content that people are going to like be receptive to.
Yep.
And so when at the end of 15, the team decided that they were going to kind of make this one role of social media promotions and website kind of all tied in together. Tim got hired, and I had never worked with Tim. I had heard good things from people in the office, but I didn't really know anything about it. He's excellent with everything that he does, and a lot of the new promotion stuff is him. We have promotions meetings with most of the people on the staff. We go over during the season. We go over, you know, kind of what's coming up, what's going to be new at the ballpark. You know, but a lot of this is, you know, preseason stuff. And the plates idea actually came about because we looked at other teams like Fresno, the AAA team, which they were affiliated with the Giants. I think they're affiliated with the Astros now. But they became the Fresno Tacos. And they did it on like one Tuesday, I think, the first year they did it. They became the Tacos on one Tuesday, and then now they do it every Tuesday.
Oh,
in
wow.
Fresno. And then, which is awesome. They have like a food truck rodeo with different food trucks that sell tacos, and it's a fantastic idea. You know, I think they were the first team that kind of had the food moniker.
Yeah.
Lehigh Valley followed with the cheesesteaks. And so Tim used to work in Lehigh Valley, so he took a look at that and he said, gosh, you know, we got to find a way to be unique. It would be awesome if we could, you know, try to incorporate the garbage plate. So he came up with this idea in October, and he brought it up at our offsite meetings where we kind of recap everything that happened in the previous year and then look ahead to next year. And, there was some mixed reaction in the room. I think that the biggest thing was, all right, how popular would this be? Is the amount of effort we're going to have to put into it going to be worth what we'll get in return?
Yeah.
So, once the team decided that, I think this is worthwhile, we approached Nick Tahoe's, Alex, the grandson, and Dan Mason and Tim kind of worked with him and developed the jersey. And, at the end of the day, we didn't want to have garbage in our name.
Right.
We don't want to be the Rochester, obviously the jokes write themselves. So,
I didn't even think about that.
So we just became the plates, and there was a lot of people that had to approve different designs and such. And, to be honest with you, based on the cap design and the jersey design and just how much merchandise we're selling, I can't imagine it being any better than it's been.
Yeah,
the people of Rochester love the Red Wings. They love the garbage plate, the two things I've learned since I moved out here. So I'm not originally from Rochester. But the two things I learned, people love the Red Wings, people love garbage plates. And so we bring them both together, and I think it's pretty clear that the community is behind both of them because we can't keep merchandise in the store. People order it online, we get in orders, and they go out right away. So I think a couple people in the office were like, this is going to be important. This is going to be big. I don't think people anticipated it was going to be as big as it's gotten.
Oh, the reaction on Twitter when the announcement came down, when we've seen the gear. I mean, I've seen people, and I think you guys have done a great job of retweeting when people get their own gear that they've ordered from the plates. I mean, the reaction has been exactly what you would expect, and kudos to everybody over at your guys' organization because it has been fun to watch just from a distance, just to see all that stuff. So, all right, Nate, you mentioned you're not originally from Rochester, so let's get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
We're going to go with the final five. Maddie usually handles this, so I'm all over the place.
The final five.
The final five.
Yes.
Final five.
Where your alum, sir? Where are you an alum of? Your alma mater?
Right. So I went to a small liberal arts school called Concordia College in Moorhead, Minnesota. It's in the northwest part of the state, just across the border from North Dakota. Fargo is right across the river.
Okay. All right.
All right. Next one. I'm very, very much looking forward to this. What is your secret talent?
I can talk like Elmo.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay, the stage is yours.
All right. What do you want me to say?
Something's got to be something TBD related. You're listening to be determined. I don't know.
You're listening to be determined. How about that?
All right.
You're listening to be determined.
Whoa!
Oh my God!
It's like the equivalent of like an aftertaste. So it's that last little bit that really sells it. That really makes it accurate.
That's spectacular.
It's that last little. Oh, that was so good.
So people have asked how I discovered that. I honestly don't know. I just know I can do it now, and it kind of freaks some people out. So.
I don't know if it's recommended for a date, but it's spectacular for a podcast question.
Hey, it's a great. It's great to break it out here. So now everybody who watches this now is going to ask me, hey, can you talk like Elmo? Can you talk like Elmo? I've done people's voicemails. I've recorded videos for people.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've actually thought about starting an Instagram account where I read inspirational quotes as Elmo and then post the videos on there. I haven't got to it yet. I might consider doing it in the off season when I have some more time. But unfortunately, that's the best I have as far as hidden talent goes.
Hey, that is spectacular.
That's awesome.
You do not need to get any better than that. That's spectacular. All right, so you can talk like Elmo. Have you ever dressed up as Elmo? What's the best Halloween costume?
I can pull off a pretty mean Steve Bartman.
Yes. Relevant right now?
So when I was in college, somebody said, "Hey, if I buy you a Cubs cap and the turtleneck, the green turtleneck, will you dress up like Bartman?" And I said, "All right." I didn't have any costume. It was whatever. So then we went to a Halloween costume contest, and like all the guys were like, "That's the best costume I've ever seen. You look just like him." And then all the girls are like, "Who is this? Like, I don't get it." So as far as that's back-to-back questions where it's not really helping my dating life. Like, I can talk like Elmo and I look like Steve Bartman, but I dressed up like Steve Bartman for a couple years, and It's pretty good, and it's better now that they've won the World Series. But
Yeah.
for a while,
Yeah.
for a while there, it was looking like that curse was going to live on for a while.
Oh, yeah. All right, number 4, favorite beer.
It's a brand called Michelob Golden Light. It is not sold everywhere.
Okay.
Minnesota has it.
Very nice.
A lot of sugar in it, but they sell it at the breweries in St. Louis specifically. I haven't been to a Budweiser brewery anywhere other than St. Louis, but they sell it in St. Louis, and the people drink it there, but they can't buy it in Missouri.
Interesting. All right. Well, listen. Next time you head down and play the Chiefs in Syracuse, let me know. We'll go out to the Budweiser brewery that is just down the road from our
Baldwinsville.
current location
Okay,
in Beeville.
Bond,
So.
twist my arm. Okay.
No, really?
Okay.
Oh, shoot.
All right, Nate. Where can we find you? Where can we watch the Red Wings stuff on the interwebs?
So the best place to follow the Red Wings is at Rock Red Wings, ROC Red Wings. That's on Instagram, on Twitter, and then the Facebook account is just Rochester Red Wings. For me personally, all my personal accounts are NJ Rowan, the letter N, the letter J, and then ROWAN. Highly recommend following the Red Wings, though.
Yes.
I just kind of send out boring roster move, some stat stuff. The Red Wings kill it on there. Tim does a great job, and we're becoming a must follow because you just never know what we're coming out with next.
Absolutely.
Very true. I would second that. It's the Red Wings is slightly more entertaining than your stuff, Nate. For us media guys, we need it. So that's there's a
by the way,
purpose for both.
Bond, I'll say I miss you at the ballpark.
Hey, I appreciate that, sir. I miss being at that ballpark. It's one of my favorite in all of baseball. It's just a great location. You guys do a great job. Like I said,
Skyline.
It's very evident that we're fans of the Red Wings on this podcast.
well, we appreciate it because sometimes we don't really know if anybody's watching.
Oh, they're watching. Hey, believe me, you guys draw quite well. So, all right, Nate Rowan, the Director of Communications for the Rochester Red Wings, sir. We appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys.
All right, bump music in. One nugget for this one. What do a yo-yo, marriage, and myself have in common? It's the get off my lawn moment. A little strange. It's a bit of a stretch. We'll get into that next on TBD.
Now, right now, as we speak, it's Shark Week on the picture box. But you know what? Here on TBD, we're going to throw a little Snark Week at you. We're going to throw you... Well, there's other things. I guess I went on rhymezone.com for nothing.
You went on what.com?
So it's Snark Week. There's one more. There's one more.
Instead of Shark Week.
So it's Snark Week because you know what? We like to zest it up here. Well,
this was what an intro to bring us back to break.
I don't remember what I wanted to say.
Okay, all right.
Well, then I was to say, let's embark on this week.
Oh, okay.
But there's another one. There was another blank week to put in there. Because Snark Week has Bark Week. So we're just barking out good words. God, seamless, yes. God. That's why they pay me the big bucks.
That is why they pay you the big bucks, sir. All right, we'll cut the music. We'll dive right into it. B-side story. What you were alluding to is that Michael Phelps finally raced the shark on Shark Week. Kinda.
So disappointing. For so many months now. I think it's actually been months, not just weeks.
What's more disappointing? The fact that Phelps lost or the fact that it was a CG shark?
Now, I think they really put a lot of metrics, they put a lot of numbers into this. So the fact that he still lost to the shark, even though it's a CG shark, please. It's not as bad as what I did a second ago. Okay. The I, it's very important. I don't know what it stands for, but it's very important.
CGI, whatever.
CGI shark. So I think that it was still very, very accurate. He's still going against at least the timing of this swimming machine. But, gosh, they threw so much into this on all sides in terms of promoting it. Even ESPY's red carpet show. They were talking to Michael Phelps. He couldn't give away too much stuff, but he was kind of playing it off like, hey, I'm still standing here, so I didn't get eaten up. It's just all a tease.
I didn't like how this played out. It seemed cheesy, kind of gimmicky. If you're going to race him you're going to race a shark, then legitimately set this thing up and try to race the shark. But I don't think there's any conceivable way you could do this. I feel like there was so much hype built behind this, and it just fluttered. It didn't.
We watched the Twitter video a second ago, and we're
it's not good.
We didn't know there was something off, but we weren't 100% sure that it was CGI.
We didn't want to guess. We didn't want to guess.
That killing machine is pretty close.
Well,
it's pretty close.
It just looked like they were normal buoys dividing them, like as if these were Olympic buoys, like the chains almost, the chain buoys, and
it's like just a gentleman's agreement. It's not a gentleman; it's a killing machine.
Yes.
But I will say the one impressive part is that Michael Phelps was wearing this fin contraption, which he's not used to swimming his fastest with that extra little accoutrement.
Yeah, so very odd B-side story. Okay, let's go to By the Numbers. The number this week is... ? As in, we have no idea exactly how far Aaron Judge's 31st home run of the year went. The Yanks' standout rookie crushing a curveball against the Mariners last Friday to give the Bombers a 5-1 lead, and ultimately that was the game 5-1. This was Judge's first homer of the second half, so safe to say he's ended that slump, and my oh my, was it in style.
And this is a big deal because it was 7 games, so in terms of actual calendar days, it was right around a couple weeks. And yes, he's still very young. He's still in his first full season. But with how much he was doing in terms of power numbers in that first half, it was kind of a surprise that it takes so long. But when he breaks that slump, he broke it. God, and the way you would like to see someone with the power numbers he did in the first half do it. Because if you just look at the two guys who were left, final 2 of this most recent home run derby, Miguel Sano had a little bit of a slump himself, but then he went out in this last series, I should say, and had in 3 straight days a home run. So you're like, he already did it, waiting on Judge. He came with a vengeance. But you think it breaks the StatCast, I think they call it, in terms of being able to work in also the arc and not just the distance to see how far it really went.
Right.
And so it breaks that. But I thought because you have that calling card to this crazy home run, that was going to go to some dark corner of Safeco Field. I don't know if it really did. It went to it was very visible where it went, at least to the naked eye. I know there's a lot of metrics that go into it, so you can't really fault them too much for not being able to see where it went. But I thought it was going to be like out of the stadium almost.
Can I dive in here?
Yeah.
All right. You were really going there. I didn't want to ruin your mojo. You were really flowing with that. Frustration. That's the word that I wrote down with this story. It seems like Aaron Judge got all of his frustration out in that swing.
In one swing.
And that's the result, is that we now have no clue how far that ball went. Clearly it was hit a mile long and a mile high, because it was the right... He was just all over that pitch. And it's fun. Like, as I said, I've enjoyed watching this guy play. Only a 2-week slump. That's not bad for a rookie hitter.
Exactly. A rookie hitter.
I mean, really, you wonder just how long this... He had such a good first half, so you wondered, all right, is this going to linger? And frankly, if it lingered closer to the playoffs, you'd almost understand it because of how good the first half was. Yeah. But the fact that he breaks it after 2 weeks and the style in which he does, man, this guy continues to be fun.
And I like that point because something had to give. The slump was almost inevitable, but the fact that it only took a couple weeks on the calendar, not even talking about actual number of games, that's very impressive.
All right. The number this week is ? Which obviously is not a number.
God, I love it.
All right, we roll on to Get Off My Lawn. And this is not going to be the typical Get Off My Lawn where I complain about something, but rather a life realization.
This is just
call
looking
it
at your surroundings.
Third life crisis, third of... I don't know. It's not quite the quarter life crisis because I'm older than quarter. I'd like to think I'm going to live to at least 90, and I'm 30 right now. Is that fair?
Yeah, because I mean, if it was quarter, then hey, you're going to be setting some records, maybe.
Oh, well, I don't know. I got good genes.
I don't know the records. Some Brett Favre jeans?
No.
Favre jeans,
not Favre jeans. Not a sponsor. All right, so
I don't think that's even a company.
You check social media, and inevitably you see some X's on social media. That's just part of the game, right?
Know.
Well, this past weekend I came to realize that my high school sweetheart is married with a child. my college sweetheart, so to speak, I mean, it was a very short relationship, if you will, is now married. And then when I graduated, I got a girlfriend when I went into the workforce, and this past weekend, she got married. So as you'll find out in the next segment with our female correspondent, as we do every week, or every month we bring her on, whenever we bring her on, I should say, that I'm a 30-year-old single guy. And obviously, if you listen to the first part of the show, you know this is previously recorded from Mom's basement, so I spend a decent amount of time in my mother's basement as a 30-year-old. And I'm just looking back and seeing all these people that I used to date, now married with kids, whatever might have you, and, well, the most exciting thing I just bought was a yo-yo.
But, guys, he can yo-yo. He can yo-yo. I know we ask on our reporter interviews, little Final Five secret talent. I'm not saying it's the only one.
It would be one of them.
But it's definitely
But it's a secret talent. It's, I don't know. I'm trying to, none of this is planned. So I'm just kind of going with the emotions of it right now. This is just so strange to me to see, and I get this is what happens when you get from 20-ish to 30-something, is that people get married, they have kids, they start families.
It is that time.
I'm nowhere near that, and I realize that.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm nowhere near this point. And again, I'm reliving my childhood to a certain extent by buying the yo-yo. It's a fun little toy.
Nostalgia,
it takes up 5 seconds, 10 seconds of my day. I do a couple of tricks, and I move on.
Little Diablo?
No.
Diesel money? I'm just making up moves now.
Okay, all right. But the sad thing is that so many people that used to be in my life are now so much further along in terms of their maturation, I guess, or their life story, whatever you want to call it, and I'm nowhere near that yet.
It's like Good Luck Chuck. That just fine film is actually just terrible. For Dane Cook, noted thespian.
Noted thespian.
So good. So good at his craft.
Am I the Dane Cook of this podcast? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Well, his role in this movie. Because I don't know, you're stealing stand-up jokes? No, I'm just kidding. That's just a legend.
No.
It was just a legend. So, yeah, he has the thing where he is Good Luck Chuck when it comes to dating a girl or being with a girl, and then she goes on to, very soon after, find a husband.
Really?
Yes, Jessica Alba's in it. She's with penguins and stuff. She's like a penguin trainer or something.
Okay, all right. That typical
That's
job.
zesty. Hey.
Zesty's one way to put
What
it.
good script writing there?
So, in essence, I got to find the female Chuck.
Jessica Alba. Oh, no, just Jessica Alba. Jessica Alba.
I mean, I'd be okay with her. She's quite lovely.
Is she one of the,
quite easy on the eyes.
Is she one of the listens, you think, in the state of California?
She might be. We do have downloads in California.
We don't know she isn't.
We don't know she isn't.
Oh.
Fact check us there.
Yeah. How about that, guys?
So the get off my lawn moment this week, I guess, is to myself.
Chin up.
And that I shouldn't have bought the yo-yo this past weekend.
Up.
And I should be out in the dating sphere more.
The sphere.
I guess. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. I just wanted to share that odd story that I came to the realization
Yeah,
that I saw an ex-girlfriend get married this weekend, and I bought a yo-yo the same weekend.
Triple play. 3 for 3.
Good God. All right, let's move to Twitter takes. Mercifully, I'm going to end my own misery here. Conor McGregor continuing to display his smack-talking skills. Draymond Green, the latest McGregor victim. This weekend, Draymond posting a picture of McGregor wearing a number 23 Warriors jersey saying, "We rockin' with Floyd, bro, not you. Take that off, bruh," at the Notorious MMA, at Conor McGregor, basically. More things on the desk falling mid-read here.
Every
week it happens. Okay, one of these days we'll find some glue and just really glue this stuff down.
Just weld it down.
But it was at that point when Conor McGregor saw the Instagram picture and went to work. Conor saying, quote, "That's CJ Watson, mate. I don't know who the F you are. No disrespect, though, kid. Keep hustling and stay in school." But that wasn't it. He went on to comment again on the post by Draymond, saying, "Now ask yourself why I'm rocking CJ when I don't know or give an F about basketball. I dribble heads off the floor, not a ball. This is no game here, kid." So the question becomes, why the CJ Watson jersey? Well, CJ allegedly had an affair with Josie Harris, the mother of 3 of Floyd Mayweather's children.
My man is doing his homework.
Kudos to Conor McGregor
that is
here.
Something.
Kudos.
Not only CJ Watts, I mean, he's known for kind of being this big undrafted guy, undrafted star, which doesn't usually happen. But that is a pretty obscure jersey.
A very obscure jersey.
He just did his homework. I love how he calls him kid. They're like a year and a half apart. That's just he's just going in so much by saying kid in that situation.
To your point, though, the research that either he or someone in his camp did to find this, I don't know if it was him exactly or if it's someone in his camp. Either way, kudos to that. I mean, normally you don't want to bring family into the fight, so to speak.
Much family.
But there's so much smack talking on either side
Yeah.
that where do we draw the line in this one? The line to me was way back at maybe the first press conference, and they left that in the dust over the next three press conferences that they did on that 4-day tour.
I think it was him. He's just a student to the game. You just see that in just the fact that he keeps hitting you, and he's so thorough and just consistent with what he does in this.
I don't want to hear him compared to Ali because no one will ever be compared to Ali in terms of smack talk.
Because he was able to back it up better.
Right, but forget how he backed it up. Just the fashion in which he did it. And even Ali wasn't great because even Ali crossed the line. McGregor doesn't know where the line is.
And we could hear what he was saying, too. He doesn't have a thick accent.
If you're not Irish, you can't hear what he's saying.
It's a great accent, but thick.
I think he's possibly the greatest smack talker of this generation. And that
like that.
used to be Floyd's title.
Yeah.
Which is kind of ironic.
He's an old man
here.
now.
Well, he is 40. He is 40. So, yeah, Conor McGregor is just killing it on the social media fronts. Anything else?
I think that was very good. Very thorough. Very Conor McGregor.
All right, we throw in the bump music. Round the corners, I said we're going to talk about my pathetic love life. And if I could get a date, where I would take that date. Ashleigh Carter's going to fill us in. The female correspondent, we're going to talk some non-traditional summertime date spots. That and more. TBD rolling on.
T to the B to the D. Listen to me as I say whippy because we're back here on the show, and I need to write down this more.
Whippy? Why didn't you go yippee?
Whippy. Oh no,
Yippee would have been better.
It's yippee. It's not whippy.
I thought that was a new phrase the kids were talking about.
No,
I
it's
thought that was a new
yippee. It's like
phrase.
yippee. I thought it was whippy.
I was convinced you had something new there that I was going to learn today.
It is yippee. You're
All
right.
Well, hey, listen, we're going to roll right through it. At Sports by Bond with at Trabs. Matt, the show, at TBD_show. Now joined by the one, the only. We'll give her a yippee.
Well, yeah.
I
got to write my wrongs. Yippee. I'll say.
There we go.
Yippee.
The female correspondent for To Be Determined, one Ashleigh Carter at Ashleigh Carter. What's going on?
Yeah, you really know how to introduce a lady with a yippee.
Right before we jumped on air, I was complimenting your
Yippee.
chin, so, I'm just...
I know. That's a new one, actually.
It's a wonder why I'm single. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't get it.
No,
I
but
really don't.
a woman needs a man to appreciate every single inch of her, so the
Okay,
chin
all right.
is not excluded.
All right, perfect.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
mean,
I'm in then.
Most recent Cosmo had a big expose on chin talk.
Yeah.
So we're all
They
good.
probably did. They're running out of material.
It's every week. We don't know what to do. Like just some board meeting. Ah!
Find your perfect chin.
Oh, good God. If you make your chins match, it's destined.
They just like try to connect them. Just got to make sure you have two clefts. Each has a cleft, and just lock them in. All right. And it's weird.
All right. Well,
I'm sorry.
We apologize.
That's two strikes. I mean,
to
just for
those
this
who
block.
turned it off. We thank those who are still with us.
You're the real.
Golly, right off the rails again. It's all right. It's the D block. That's what happens. That's what this block is for. All right. So we bring Carter on for a number of reasons. One, and mainly to give the female perspective on things. And selfishly, I need advice on dating because, as we know, I'm quite single and will continue to be based on the cheesy lines that I come up with. All right. So one of the things I asked Ashley about early this week was like cool summer dating spots. So we want to go outside the realm of just dinner and drinks. Mm-hmm. That's like kind of the typical thing, right?
I feel like it's becoming so tired. Like I don't remember the last time that like it was like a first date kind of thing. Like we need to get dinner. Like that's how you're going to get to know each other. Because I mean, like there's so much pressure on that. And to be honest, I'm not really a fan when you first meet because I'd rather do something fun with you, more constructive, like something to really bring out your personality. And then you can and then later on, like a second or third date, have dinner, because then you can sit down and really get to know each other. But it just like automatically, you're just like sitting in front of this person, you have to make conversation. Like, it's so much.
And it's awkward too, because what do you order? The girl, I'm sure, is nervous about what she's ordering. I'm a little nervous about because I like a good salad from time to time, but that's not a power dinner. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's you don't want to order a salad on a first date. That's not a good look. Yeah,
filet mignon.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
how do you like it?
It's not a good look.
You have to set an example with that meal you get. You know?
Right. It says a lot about the thing. It says a lot about the person, rather. So let's dive into some of the best summer dating spots. And this, I think, goes even for someone in your situation who's been with someone for a little while, and you just want something new and fresh. And maybe this is the first summer for like you.
Yeah, I mean, the calendar turns regardless of...
Right, it does. It does.
Where we are in
this is the first
relationships.
summer that Carter's in a relationship. So these are all new things, I guess, even for her.
Yeah. So, I mean, summer is the best. And people need to take advantage of summer when you're trying, like you who thinks you're going to be single for life.
I will be, but that's another story.
This, especially in upstate New York, winter is coming. And
it's July.
See, he doesn't watch Game of Thrones, so everyone else would understand that.
I get the reference.
Oh, you do?
Sunday.
I get the, yes.
Nice.
It's actually on in about an hour, so...
I know, that's why we had to do it now. So, but no, and we know how miserable everyone gets, and we get all cooped up. So before that happens, like especially me personally, this summer I've been taking advantage of the outdoors more so than I have in the past, because once you work 40 hours, like you just want to be outside, and especially you want to spend time with people. So I think honestly, this is like the perfect time to get to know someone, because honestly, you can literally just go outside and be like, hey, do you want to just take a random, I live in Buffalo, so let's go to Niagara Falls or something. Like,
a quick trip, though.
Yeah, we just have this, wonder right there. And then there's just other things, I feel like being outdoors with someone is, really great to connect. Like, you're just walking around, you have nothing really else to do but to talk and just kind of, look at who else is there. I don't know. I think that's a really great way to break the ice. Just trying to be outside. Me personally, I love going to the zoo. I love cheesy stuff like that. There's botanical gardens are really nice. I feel like a lot of women really like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just it sounds so cheesy, but being one with nature.
Okay.
But
all right.
You know what I mean? I feel like that it really breaks ice, as opposed to just being we should just go eat dinner and stare at each other, or maybe we should go drink together and wonder who's gonna order the fourth drink, because you know what I mean. I don't know.
All right. Well, how about along those lines, a brewery? And what I mean is almost like a brewery tour. So you get maybe the history of the brewery. You have a couple of drinks, so it loosens you up. But it's not as you said, you're not all right, who's gonna go back for the fourth or fifth time?
Yeah, right.
Really get things going.
Yeah, well, breweries are so perfect because they're literally popping up on every street corner.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what the hell is going on. They're going to be in our homes pretty soon. But especially around here, a lot of the breweries in Buffalo, they have all these activities, the giant Jenga is now a thing. And actually, fun fact, there's a brewery around here where there's hatchets that you can throw.
That seems like a horrible idea, or
yeah,
a great
I
idea.
don't know
One or the
how
other.
they're getting away with that.
Is that OSHA approved?
That may be a little extreme, but especially in Rochester, Genesee Brewery, you can get flights for literally $2, which that's super cheap, because as millennials, we're really cheap. We love cheap
we're really
stuff.
broke.
We are. We're so broke. We're my student loans are. I'm drunk.
So destitute.
Yeah. So I think breweries are a great idea.
So beach bars, big this time of year. Obviously, nature is dope.
Yeah.
Water's cool to look at. It's cool to be in. So skin, obviously, shown a little bit more at this time of the year when it comes to clothing. How's that changed dating games? These beach bars.
A beach bar would be tricky, because most women are probably I gotta wear a bathing suit in front of this guy.
Oh, okay.
So that would be my first thought.
Okay.
Although a bar that's on the water and is not necessarily a beach, that would be a better option, because you can wear normal clothes. You don't have to worry about a nip slip or anything with that.
And it's still close. Yeah, you still see it, but
right.
More,
it's so beautiful. You still get the sunset and the pretty yeah. I think just everyone likes being outside and
Yeah.
likes drinking on patios.
Yeah.
Like that's just our thing.
Is
we
there
just
a-
love doing that.
I'll go complete opposite with this because the whole theme has been kind of outdoors and getting outdoors and whatnot. Is there a good indoor spot during the summer?
Well, what I was thinking, it's not really indoors, but sporting events. I think baseball
Okay.
games are really great because baseball, especially like minor league baseball. First of all, it's cheap. Second of all, baseball is slow moving enough that like you can actually talk to each other, and it's calm and it's like something to do. So going to a minor league baseball game, I think that would be awesome. I think men and women would both enjoy that.
That's good to know. That's good to know. And I think the slow pace, so it allows you to talk,
Yeah.
is
Right.
the key there.
Yeah,
I think-
baseball's big for that.
Yeah. Oh my God. Whereas like if you're at like a basketball game, like no, you're not
Yeah,
speaking at
back
all.
and forth. Yeah.
yeah. You're like, so what do you do for a living?
Oh, they scored again. Hear the fireworks.
so-
Say.
We missed everything. All right.
And it's gone. So summertime also you get like all sorts of festivals, not just music festivals, but art festivals as well. How can those be incorporated in the dating game?
That's easy too, because you can be like, hey, this festival's going on today. Do you want to meet me there? Which is great because like, first of all, protect yourself. You don't want to get murdered and
True.
go with someone.
Public place.
Yeah, I'm really weird. I love, like, if I've ever gone on, like, a first date, I want to meet them there. I don't like being driven because I love being able to escape and being able to be like, I gotta go. Like, so I don't, like,
That's
the
fair.
traditional,
I like
being
that.
picked up. Like, I'm not really into that. I like meeting them there until you know them, until you're like, wow, I like spending time with them. So that's another great thing. Like, hey, this thing is going on. Like I was just telling Matt this, every single weekend in Buffalo at Canal Side, there's something going on. And it's like, that would be perfect to bring someone to something like that.
Yeah.
But say it's like raining out or something. If you want to go super artsy, you can go to like a museum or like there's a lot of like exhibits and stuff that go on, around here at least. So something like that. I mean, like no one's above going to like stuff like that. Like it's fun either way. You can get to know someone.
Very good.
But when I was thinking indoors, this would probably be like a second or third date. I think like cooking together would be really,
Ooh, all right.
that's really intimate. And then that's
Yes.
really, you can be silly with each other. You can like kind of bring out like how you do things. And like, I just think that's a really awesome way to get to know
All right.
someone too.
All right.
I like that.
I like that too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Carter, where can we find you on the interwebs? God, I can't talk.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Ashleigh Carter. So yeah, check me out. I'm the
Perfect.
redhead tweeting nonsense.
No, it's not nonsense.
It's great stuff. If you want to laugh, I do like it.
I'm glad you enjoy.
Hey, we are avid consumers. Active consumers? I don't know I think avid. I think avid's better.
Active.
It's like a
All
yippee whoopee.
I don't, whatever.
A whoopee.
The female correspondent for To Be Determined at Ashleigh Carter. Miss Carter, we appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys.
All right, time for It's Got Legs, a story that we think is going to continue to make headlines throughout the weeks, months, or possibly years to follow. We have had a couple stories that do years. This one, rather sad, and we don't mean to end on a sad note, but just to show you how serious some of these baseball brawls can actually be, even though they all sort of look like a dog and pony show, to be honest with you, for the most part.
In this sport, yeah, unfortunately.
Giants outfielder Michael Morse's career might be in jeopardy after that Giants-Nats brawl back on Memorial Day. You might remember it involved Bryce Harper when he threw the helmet almost... just ugly.
It was thrown. His helmet was thrown.
Not pretty. Morse suffered a concussion while colliding with teammate Jeff Samardzija as the brawl was breaking out. 2 months later, Giants manager Bruce Bochy saying Morse is still not cleared to play.
And the fact that this might put in jeopardy, it might just completely end his MLB career, is a huge,
Scary.
It's a huge deal. And when it first came out, it was a means of humor because it's friendly fire. It's two guys from the same team going in, and they end up running into each other hard. But now now that you look at the video back, after you hear that this is kind of going from humor to something a little bit more serious, a lot more serious, I should say. It's, man, Samardzija's head really goes into the temple of Mike Morse. It doesn't surprise me at all that now this is coming out. And this is like seemingly a moot point. initially with this fight because it's like happening on the outskirts. It's not with the two guys that actually happened. The picture,
the focal points.
The picture plate combo, and just the fact that they were just bystanders for the most part, and it's friendly fire. It's just a very unfortunate happening.
Makes you wonder how many concussions Morse had prior to this. It can't be his first.
Yeah.
Now, is it 12 or is it 3? It doesn't really matter. Concussions affect everyone differently, and that's just the way these things work. Some people get certain symptoms, other people get other symptoms. I've had concussions. I've never had the same symptoms twice. The one thing I've never had is nausea from a concussion. I don't know why that is, but I've just never had nausea from it. So it affects everyone a little bit differently. For the few that I had, I was up for a couple of weeks. This, obviously, much more serious. I think this is going on 2 months now.
Yeah, and that's a long time. I know there's definitely going to be, because you said, like, case-by-case basis. There's going to be some cases that are longer than this, but just very striking, especially when you didn't hear anything about this. You heard all the suspension coming down for different guys involved, but not like something more far-reaching like this, because suspensions end. But I just hope that something ending is also not his MLB career.
Yeah, you hope that he's okay. You hope that he can make a recovery, and even if it is just sitting out the rest of this year, shut it down. Get yourself healthy and come back next year.
They're not a contender. I mean, the Dodgers are so far ahead, and they're not beating out the Rockies or Diamondbacks either.
All right, so that's the story. It's got legs. Rather sad. We'll try to bring you up here.
Oh, yeah.
With our thank yous portion of the show. Little energy. I love it.
Yeah.
Our thanks to the Director of Communications for the Rochester Red Wings, Nate Rowan. Our thanks to Ashleigh Carter, the female correspondent of To Be Determined. Make sure you check out the website, tobedeterminedshow.com. It's got everything on there, episodes, the post-game press conferences, the Friday show, video stuff, our Twitter, our Instagram feeds, our Facebook feeds, all there. Matt's bio's there. Mine's still not ready.
It's TBD.
I'll get to it.
It's TBD, baby. Oh, yeah.
Check out the show on iTunes, Google Play. Make sure you download and subscribe. Rate and review us if you're an Apple or iTunes user. Not iPad. I don't know what I was thinking there.
Hey, just do it.
Too many eyes in the Apple machine. Twitter, TBD_show. Instagram, To Be Determined Show. Facebook, To Be Determined Pod. At To Be Determined Pod. Email the show, tbdmailman@gmail.com. As I said, the website, To Be Determined Show. Drop us an email, a comment. Let us know what you think of the website. Let us know what you think of the show.
Tell us that you like us.
There we go. Our thanks to...
I like us.
I like you, too.
God.
Our thanks to senior producer Mitch Baluco. Our thanks to executive producer at Sports by Mom. Maddie, my thanks for you to showing up yet again.
I thank you, too.
21 weeks... in the books. I hope we figured out something.
You just looked at your watch. Did it actually say how many weeks?
I did. It does.
Did it actually say how many weeks?
It says 21. It says 21.
You're a fraud. But you're my fraud.
Later, boys.